We stand on the edge of a new era, and it could be amazing. We do need, however, to get our carbon cycle under control. Here are 10 non-negotiable facts that our leaders and businesses need to acknowledge. If they do not, look elsewhere to support those taking the future seriously. Whether it is with your support at the ballot box or with your hard-earned money when you purchase goods and services. Use this as your starting point for what you expect them to aim for in terms of future plans. Number 1. A global temperature rise of 2 Celsius looks significantly worse than 1.5 Celsius. However, this needs to be said with a very strong caveat. We do not know for sure what will happen at any temperature. We just know the unpredictability gets worse and the resulting issues will be magnified ever greater. We could see a step change at any time, where a tipping point occurs and things get exponentially worse in just a few years, such as large-scale methane releases from previously frozen areas, or the breaking down of ocean currents, or the total collapse of a food chain. None of these would make the world better for anyone on the planet. By the way, we are currently at 1.1 Celsius on that scale. Number 2. Without triggering step changes, it is essentially a linear process. So the more we put in, the more it will change beyond our control and predictions. This also means that the more we put in, the more we are going to have to take back out to get the balance right again. And taking it out will cost us money, just as cleaning the water and land from pollution does right now. Such as when fossil fuels are exhausted from an area, but the owners run away when the company goes bankrupt, and we, the taxpayers, are left to pay for the cleanup, or otherwise we live in a shithole. We pay, they just get let off with a golden handshake to some private estate somewhere to live in luxury. Probably to some unspoilt landscape they purchased and kept pristine. How many CEOs have worked down a mine or on an oil rig? Did you know miners invented an oxygen chamber for canaries, so when they passed out due to lack of oxygen or gases in the coal mine, they could be revived without harm? In essence, the miners cared more for a canary than the owners and CEOs care about them and us. Think about that for a minute. Number 3. We have been growing emissions exponentially for 160 years. And it has not slowed down with all the recent talk and action. All the clean energy and efficiency improvements have been eaten up by increased use. That is why we need to keep fossil fuels in the ground, and we need to mandate it, because some people are happy to lie, cheat and steal, and without concerted action and legal frameworks they will continue to do anything they are allowed to do, no matter who or what it hurts. Number 4. At current rates of growth, we will blow past 2 Celsius without even slowing down. If we consider that about 2.2 trillion tonnes of CO2 equates to about 1 degree Celsius rise, the current projections have us overshooting that budget at current rates maybe between 2030 and 2040. And by the way, excluding seismic changes due to tipping points with this data, 4 Celsius would be just 39 years behind that, and 8 Celsius would be 39 more years behind that. Number 5. It takes a long time to apply the brakes. We have already seen how leaders of the largest nations claim to only be able to even aim for net zero by 2050 or 2060 even. And the most ambitious are looking for 2035 or 2040. This just shows how much like a huge ocean ship liner the whole process is. Slowing down and changing direction is not instant. So the sooner we start to make changes, the sooner we hit net zero, and the less work we will have to do cleaning up the mess we have made. The more we continue sticking into the atmosphere, the more we are going to have to remove. Number 6. Beware the kuznets curve. This tells us increased efficiency often leads to increased consumption. That is worthy of a video on its own. I'll come to that at some point in the future. Number 7. It is not just CO2. We need to remember and manage all other contributors as well, such as methane and refrigerants, which are increasingly being released due to global warming of previously frozen areas, as with methane, and with others they are being increasingly traded on the black market to get around legislation. Number 8. We need to price carbon realistically. Microsoft has started, for example, but it is woefully low. Pricing carbon is like making the mining company repair the landscape when they leave the area, or making an oil company pay to clean up after an oil spill. It is not radical, it is not Marxist or anti-freedom, it is just what needs to be done. Tragedy of the commons. If you are going to profit, indeed profit obscenely, from a process, and that process causes harm, then you should pay some of those profits towards putting that harm right. If you cannot see that, then you have severe psychological issues and need psychiatric help, preferably whilst being detained in a place and position where you can do no harm to anyone. Number 9. It needs to work for everyone. This is because harm inflicted by one group can easily injure an entirely separate group at no fault of their own. And very small players and groups can have adversely large effects on the majority. A sense of fairness is the only way we get to win in the long game. And finally, number 10. We need to remove carbon from the air. Maybe if we could cut off the supply today and be net zero straight away, we could get away with where we are. Maybe. But that debate is a moot point, because we cannot do that. We cannot even do it quickly, apparently, if you listen to politicians. If you look at this image, we are currently at 420 parts per million. The Industrial Revolution had levels of 280 parts per million. You have to go back at least several million years to get to a level this high where we are already. And we have not been around 1,000 parts per million for maybe 40 or 50 million years. To go beyond that, and you are back hundreds of millions of years ago. Do they really think that is where they want to live? You are aware that flowering plants only evolved 125 million years ago. Just think on that for a moment. So, the threat is real, and the time to act is now. Of that, there is no debate. Well, not in my eyes. And when the end game is a cleaner, better world for everyone, why debate? It makes no sense. What do you think? Am I wrong? Tell me where and provide your data to support your claim, not just a series of insulting phrases to cloud the issue. Leave your comments and thoughts below. And if you like this, why not hit the like button? And if you want to know more and support this channel, subscribe, share, and keep coming back. And as always, thank you for dropping by.